Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shark Pig's Porridge. Today we will be playing a game called Rimworld by Ludeon Studios. A few things about this game while I am making the world very quickly in the background. It is not on Steam. This game is about, I think, $20 or $30 right now, straight from the Rimworld website. Highly recommend you download it. It's in beta at the moment. They have been on talks with Steam and Valve to make sure that they can eventually get it on there, but I think that they've just been, having some issues with that. In any case, the game is very playable in its current state. You're not losing out on a whole lot, honestly. I purchased the game back when it was a little bit cheaper at about $15. I've been very impressed with its progress so far, and they've added a ton of extra stuff to it. I mean, the game is just so expansive, so comprehensive. It's ridiculously large. So I hope you guys enjoy, and definitely go and check it out and pick it up when you can. Alright, so let's get started. Thank you for joining me on Rimworld. I actually forget the name of the place that I just created, but as you can see here, our AI storyteller has brought us up to speed. The three of you awake in your crypto-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and rhythmic metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown Rimworld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you start to make plans to survive. Okay. So, here comes our survivors. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pause it using the space bar here. And let's take a look at who we have. We have Bear, who is a settler. We have Bite, who is a researcher. And we have Tail, who is an artist. Now, I didn't name any of these people, but they have awesome names. I just want to point that out. Let's see here. We're going to go to character and just check on sort of who we're working with here. This is Orna Bear Bernhardt. This is a female human colonist, age 25, childhood of a scout, adulthood of a colony settler, incapable of intellectual and artistic traits, psychically dull, green thumb, and nervous. Now, there are all sorts of things that go into this, but the main thing you need to know is that everything here affects everything here. So this all makes up what this creates. What we see here is that Bear here is very good at growing, construction, and shooting, pretty good at mining, can handle medicine, and a few other things here. But she has a burning passion for shooting. What that means is that she's going to learn the shooting skill 1.5 times faster than any of her other skills. And of course, construction, she has an interest and passion in it, learns 1 time faster than all the other ones. That's going to be handy. It means that I should really focus on making sure that Bear is doing all of the hunting and all of the defending and then all of the construction as well. That'll help out a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do, we are paused, but you can issue commands to your people while it is paused. I'm going to go ahead and give Bear the survivor rifle. Now, if we zoom in here, you can sort of see we have a survival rifle, normal quality. I've got a plasteel knife down here, also normal quality, and I've got a pistol, which is normal quality. Got a few other things here. The reason they have X's on them is because they have been designated not to be picked up. I'm going to go ahead and fix all that. Double click on your silver here. Go ahead and let them pick that up. We'll go ahead and if you order them to pick things up when they're not, it just means they won't automatically move things around. These are all packaged survival meals, these yellow things here. We're going to zoom out a little bit so we can get a better view. Looks like that's all we have. And then we'll go ahead and do the same with medicine. Wood, obviously very important for building. And then, of course, iron. Got some more iron up here, actually. Pretty close to a lake. Can't build anything on the mud here. And we're fairly limited on what we can build in these areas as well here, so we'll probably focus. Actually, we have a very defensible area. We already have a natural ruined marble wall up here, and then this area right here. And the reason I'm looking for all of this right now, of course, is because there are natural disasters, raiders, various things that can happen in this game. And the earlier you can get yourself defended and see sort of the choke points that you can create, the better it is for everybody. Let's meet the rest of our colonists. We have Bite, who is a researcher, had a childhood as a Voyager child, adulthood space researcher. Now, this is sort of an example of one of the bad roles that you can get. He is a male colonist, age 24, so we don't have to worry about a huge amount of problems with his health. But we do have to look at all these things with the dashes on them, means that he cannot perform actions in those categories. He cannot, for instance, talk with prisoners and try and persuade them to join the cause. He cannot cook, he cannot build, he cannot grow anything, he cannot mine, and he cannot craft anything, which is a huge problem. It basically means the only thing that Bite is good for is making sculptures through artistic desire and researching, which is important, but with only 3 people, you sort of have to spread the tasks out among them, and it means that things are going to go a lot slower. He's heat tolerant, though, which is going to be helpful in the summer, and he's also a pessimist, which means that he's going to have a bad mood all the time, which is kind of a pain. But we can make that work for us. And Tail, of course, Tail, 75, shunned girl childhood, art student in adulthood, incapable of mining, not a huge deal. We can keep Bear on the mining. It looks like she's the only one that can actually mine. If we run down the line here, Tail is very artistic, even more so than Bite. She can research, she can craft, and she's good with medicine, which would be very helpful. But she can do all of these other things, which is, a step up. Chemical fascination, much more likely to go on binges with alcohol and things like that. Abrasive and nervous. But the big problem here with Tail is that she's 75 years old. Most likely, if I go into the help panel here, we will find she has dementia. Which would give her poor talking, poor manipulation, very poor moving, poor hearing, and weak in consciousness. She's a bad back and she's frail. This is also another very bad character. I'm just going to point that out. Bear is probably our strongest person at the moment. No injuries, no pain. Everything else is good for her. Bite has crypto sleep sickness, which is fairly common coming straight into the game. That will pass, and basically just affects the consciousness manipulation. They'll throw up, and it'll be good here in a second. Right. So, what do we have? It said that... Okay, so Bite can still shoot in melee. Who's better with guns between the two of these guys? Looks like it's going to be Tail. So, Tail, I'm going to go ahead and give you... Change my mind. I'm going to give you... Sight is okay. Okay, never mind. We're going to go ahead and give you the gun. You don't want to give anybody who has bad sight the gun, because chances are they'll end up hitting your people more than they will their target. We'll go ahead and give Bite the knife. Now, on to what we should be doing first. Let's go ahead and designate the steel back out here, and let's go to Architect and Orders. We have a few things that we could be doing first, but I think that the most pressing at this moment would be to get started on a house of sorts. So we're going to go ahead and build a structure. Now, you'll notice here when I click on structure, we have deconstruct, steel door, steel auto door, and steel wall. I can change the materials of what these things are made out of by right-clicking, and that will allow you to choose between any of the materials that you have available. So if I had bricks, I could build these out of bricks, and if I had gold, I could build it out of gold, and so on. We're just going to go with wood. And we'll make a wooden wall. And we're going to go ahead and make a wooden wall, probably... This isn't the normal sort of route that I would take, but we're just going to build it right here for the purposes of the introduction. 5 and 4. It's not quite even, but that's okay, and we'll make a wooden door here. Now, you won't actually see a roof appear on a structure unless there is a door enclosing it in. We're also going to, well, let's leave the floor bare for now. But we are going to do a furniture. We're going to make a sleeping spot. This is just basically a designated spot for them to sleep in. If it turns night before they are done, let's go ahead and start it up. You'll see everybody's picking up their weapons and going to work. The first task is to build a room. It's not really a quest or anything, it's just sort of a suggestion that the game gives to you to remind you of how to get going. While that's going on, because Bite cannot do anything really, it might be worth, let's see here, production, and let's make a wooden research bench. Flip that around, set it outside here. That little circle there is going to designate where they will stand. Now, Tail isn't really doing anything, she's just sort of wandering around, probably, if we go into the overview here, because she is not in the job for construct or repair. So we're going to go ahead and put her on that. See, Bear is basically doing everything at the moment, and until we get another colonist, that's basically how it's going to be working. Now, because we've set Tail to construct and repair, she should snap out of her little daze there. Bite's over there throwing up in the trees because has got the crypto sleep sickness. Tail is building, you'll notice, very slow in comparison to Bear because she has the problems with manipulation. She's frail. That's the big problem. And these things can be changed. That's the nice thing about all this particular game, made by Ludeon Studios. They do so many updates. More recently, they've really added onto the game a number of things. And they've added things like the ability to equip your characters or your survivors, your colonists, with different bionic parts. So you can buy bionic parts on the black market. You can then have them operated on surgically, and of course that runs its own risks, because if I wanted to give a bionic eye to Tail, for instance, they would have to operate on her sight, and very occasionally, if the person who's doing the operation isn't very good at doctoring, they'll mess up, stab her in the other eye, and then she'll be worse off than before. Okay, so Bite is still throwing up, but good news, Bite, we now have a research bench for you so you can actually be useful. Let's go ahead and assign a research task. These are all the things that we can research. And the first thing, the numbers next to them are going to determine how many research points it's going to take in order to finish them. So obviously the higher the number, the longer it's going to take to finish. Let's work on... Because I don't really have a whole lot of people who can grow very well, we're going to focus on nutrient resynthesis. Nutrient-based dispensers consume 10% less food per meal produced. There's a lot of things that go into this game, and it takes sort of a lot of time to get used to all of the different strategies and things that you can be working with. But essentially, food is one of the biggest problems early on that you'll have to worry about. We obviously have these survival meals, which will last us a little while. You'll notice a bunch of animals walking around which we can hunt. There are berries here that you can plant, or you can pick, and then of course there are crops that you can grow. Unfortunately, well, it looks like they're almost done here. Bite's gotten to work on the researching, which is nice. It means he's actually doing something useful for us, and we're going to go ahead and make a zone area for growing. Put it out on this side here. You can see this area here I can't do much with. Bear immediately jumps to work. Bear, you are a asset to the colony. Severe asset. If we go to the growing tab here, we'll see that she is planting potato plants. Those will grow over time, and then they will be harvested. It won't do us much good, of course, until we get a way to cook them, which will require some sort of power. Go into the power production screen here, we'll go to solar panels, and we will have Bear, who is the only one doing anything right now, build us a couple of solar panels right next to each other here. They take 100 per piece, and you'll notice that sort of all of the different blueprints I make say that I don't have enough of that particular product. It's just because I don't have them in a stockpile. So it doesn't consider any of this steel actually part of my colony until I put it into a zone area stockpile zone. But they'll still use whatever is closest. If I were to go, for instance, down here, you'll notice that there are a few survival meals that fell off the ship on the way down, and I will bet that there are some more steel down here. So if I were to take this off of forbidden status, and they were to run out of steel up here, they would run all the way down here to get steel, which is a long run. I'm not going to make them do that. Looks like they've already done with one here. You'll notice this meter. It's going to show us how much power that particular solar panel has generated. Obviously, when the sun goes down, the power is going to go down. We have nothing here that's using power, but we also don't have any batteries to store the power, so these panels are kind of useless to us at the moment. Wait for Bear to finish up here. Whew, it's a lot of information to put out. It's a lot of Fast and Furious working, and of course the fact that we started with some pretty crappy colonists doesn't help much, with the exception of Bear. Of course, Bear and her amazing mohawk are carrying this colony to success. What else do we have here? Under orders, we can do mine, haul things, cut plants, which is like sort of getting rid of this grass here if you wanted to do that. Harvest, we'll harvest these berries here. Chop wood, of course, is chopping trees. Hunting, you can designate things to hunt. Claim is, if I were to claim, let's see, this right here, for instance, because this belongs to nobody, but it could belong to my colony if I wanted to. It's kind of out of the way, so it's not going to. I don't really feel like we need it at the moment. Strip, if you kill somebody, you can strip them of their clothes and use them. Rearm trap, there are traps you can have under security here, we'll get to that. Wooden doors, or just general doors, they do have to stop in order to, you'll see they're all going to go to bed now. Takes them a second to walk through the door there, have to open it up. If you do an auto door, it requires power, but they can just walk right through. Tail, leading, trailing the pack, going somewhere, getting some survival meals. Almost done with that second solar generator. Right, have a drink of water. Furniture, excuse me. Beds are more or less comfortable depending. A steel stool, dining chair, armchairs, tables, potted plants, lamps obviously require power and equipment racks. Security, sandbags, makes it difficult to hit a target behind them. And turrets, traps, all of these things. Here is the by and large of this game. Is about collecting resources, be it collecting food, collecting rocks or steel, wood. I'm going to go ahead and speed up time here. All of this in order to build different things to help your colonists survive, and the AI storyteller I chose is going to steadily ramp up the difficulty as we go on, and it's going to get harder. Normally, you can tell if your colony is going to survive based on the first big event that hits you. Should be 2 days past since my arrival, 10 days in each month. It's spring currently, it's a good month to start in. I think that now that all these potatoes are planted, let's go ahead and have a power. Let's make a battery, shall we? We'll put a battery here and a battery here. Now, all of these characters are going to have moods and needs. This is where we're getting down into the really complicated stuff, but of course, all of these things really matter, because you'll notice here, had an unpleasant chat, they're currently in darkness, slept on the ground, feeling bad, disturbed sleep. That's going to count towards their overall mood, and if their mood gets too low, then they snap. If they snap, they can have a violent outburst, they can cause some major problems, or they can just wander around in a daze and be absolutely useless to you for a long time, which is also very annoying, because most of the time it happens. They happen to snap when when something really bad is happening. Maybe a fire outbreaks, or you're under attack by raiders, and all of a sudden half of your team just decides that they're going to go insane and wander around and do nothing while everything's being burned to the ground. It's a huge problem. Bear has finished constructing our batteries. Now, batteries, as you can see, are at 0 right now. They're grayed out. What we need to do is find a way to get the power from the solar generator to the batteries. Power conduit. We're going to run conduit under the potatoes and down through the wall, and once Bear finishes building those, we should be able to start storing some energy, which is going to be very helpful for us. It means that we'll be able to run things such as turrets. We can make a stove and a butcher's table so that we can start making things. Bite's having a bite to eat. Ha! Bear is off to find some, hauling steel times 34 to power conduit. She's going to go ahead and build that conduit for us and make us a nice little home. I'll play up until our first big event, and after that we'll call it a day on this. Tail is lying on the ground cloud watching. Very common for your colonists to need to relax a little bit to blow off some steam. So you'll see here we're going to start to build some power. Helpful. Normally, by this time, my colony would be quite a bit bigger. quite a bit more planned out. There is a planning tool under orders for this, which allows you to sort of make and plan out for the future. Something you really need to do if you're going to survive for a few more days in this colony. Research finished. Nutrient resynthesis. Nutrient-based suspensions consume 10% less food per meal produced. Wonderful. Let's go back to the research screen. It looks like Byte has come through for us on the research end, and it might be time for us to learn about... Let's see. Hospital beds are important. Crypto sleep not so much. Pneumatic picks. Geothermal power. Let's do that. Let's go for geothermal. What that means is once he's done researching this, we will be able to place a geothermal generator right on this steam geyser right here, and that will allow us to have power that is essentially not determined on the wind or the sun in order to get. And there is wind turbines, and there is the geothermal generator, but it won't show up until after we are done researching it. Bear is currently wandering around. Nothing much to do at the moment for Bear, except we should be harvesting... Now, shopping wood. Bear, could you cut down some trees for us, please? Would you be so kind? Maybe. Don't see any big threats at the moment. One thing I will point out, boom rats, these red squirrels here, basically, they do explode when you kill them. They can cause massive fires and a whole lot of damage, which is not fun. Let's do production. Let's go ahead and make a cook stove. We'll put it right here. And you'll see that the cook stove has to be hooked up. That little yellow squiggly line there is basically saying it has to be hooked up to power. The fact that we have batteries means that we'll be able to have power through the night, which is nice if we had lights, and of course turrets. A lot of this during survival can be about power management. You can switch off things that are using power. Let's go ahead and speed this up a little bit. There we go. Now that has power. We'll need to do bills and add a bill. Cook simple meal. We'll do it about 15 times. We'll do 25. That's pretty much my go-to. 25 times. Oh, do until you have 25 is what I was looking for. Once you have 25 in there, they will stop making food. They'll move on to something else. Who is our cook? That would be Bear, of course. Bear, oh god, it's not good. We're gonna go ahead and put Tail on cooking, even though she's slow at doing everything. Pop Bear up on plant cuts, so she'll actually do some wood cutting in Tail's stead. It'll go a little bit faster. Now, Tail is gonna go eat. There really isn't much to cook right now, unfortunately. All we have is these berries. We'll do a hunt order on the squirrel. Now, I believe Bear is our hunter. Tail is going to sleep now, I'm assuming. And we'll speed up time. Sleep through the night. And hopefully we will hit our first event here soon, because we're getting pretty long on our video at this point. Okay. Oh, crap. Ah, jeez. So that's always a danger. Shooting through other colonists, you can actually kill them. Now, you'll notice that Bear managed to kill this squirrel dead. We will need to get a butcher's table going here. We'll make it out of wood. We'll put it here. In order to have this squirrel taken care of, they'll have to butcher it first. It'll then create fur and meat chunks, which can then be used in the cooking process. All food can spoil. This one is not refrigerated, can spoil in 13.3 days. And you can add on coolers onto the outside of rooms in order to keep rooms cool and refrigerated. You can change the temperature on them, you can put a heater on it, you can put vents to sort of equalize temperature. And it's not really until you start making a video about this game that you realize how much goes into making a colony. It's a very, well, in this game specifically, it's a lot of work if you have never played this game before to sort of get started. But hopefully this will pique your interest and give you a little bit of a how-to on just sort of how to get started. And honestly, I wouldn't go for me on a tutorial. You're going to want to work a lot faster than this. By day 3, everybody should be working on making a very large farm. You should have a fairly large swath of land cut out, materials stockpiled. You should have a refrigerator going probably by this point, and a mine going for things like iron, compacted steel, excuse me. It looks like you'll be here for a while. Bear is suggesting that you give the colony a name. What should it be called? Oh, we're not going to call it Sleepville, despite the fact that everybody is sleeping. We're going to call it, might as well already be dead. Oh, colony name is not valid. Dead. Meat. Murked. Meat. Okay. I mean, they might as... I mean, come on. The only person that really does anything around here is Bear anyway. Bite and Tail are gonna die. Eventually, another colonist does show up. Normally you get a 4th colonist that sort of wanders in naked around this time. You'll see that I have a need defenses notification up here that's telling me I... Basically, if a raid or attack were to happen right now, I wouldn't stand a chance. Okay, so... Here we have a mad animal. This is going to be our first big event and probably the last thing I'm going to show you before we head out here. Mad animal, a local boar has gone mad. It will attack everyone it sees. Not particularly exciting, but if we go ahead and click on that and jump to location, here it comes, steaming down through the grass here. Here it goes. Okay, so it's going to run right for my colony here and sort of wait at the door for somebody to walk outside, and then it will attack it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draft Bear, and I'm going to draft Bite, just because Bite has the knife. I'm going to come out here and have him attack melee, and Bear... Go on, Bite! Fight the boar! Queen and country, let's go! And fire at the boar. So the two of them are going to attack and just sort of defend. Bite's going to get injured. And now it's over. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're undraft and they'll go back to what they were doing. Bite has been injured, got a scratch on his foot, a scratch on his neck, and he's got blood loss. Basically that stuff, if left untreated through medkits and various things like that, can become infections, and then they can die or they can lose limbs, and it all gets pretty gruesome. There's a lot that goes into this game. So, at the end of the day, I suppose the message here for you would be just go to Ludeon.com. I think it's Ludeon.com. Just go on Google, type in Ludeon Studios. Type in Rimworld, whatever. You can buy it directly from them. It's not a game that's on Steam, so you won't be able to get it from there. Buy it. I think it's like 20 bucks right now. Super awesome game. Seriously, I wasted so much goddamn time playing this game. It's ridiculous. Time just goes by so fast when you're playing this. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you again on the next video.